Here's to whiskey kisses, the peaty taste of sin.
It's whiskey time. Greetings, whiskey folk. Welcome back to Drinking Out Loud. I'm your host, as ever, and we are here today to explore August 2024's SNWS Canada Outturn, the 154th of our outturns here, and it's a momentous occasion because we have a very special, brand new guest here in the studio. Hart has joined us from the liquor store. He was lucky enough to be doing the mid-shift today, which means he's allowed to have some drinks in his final hour because he doesn't have to go back down to the store afterwards. Sweet. OH&S is going to love this. Mm-hmm. All right, so Hart's been to a couple of outturns before, but he's never hosted one. However, he's a very important person because many of you will recognize him as the person that sells you the whiskey afterwards, which is an important part of an outturn, but also, unsung hero, he's actually polished glasses several times as well. So you're the reason that there was no lipstick on the glasses, Hart, and that's an important part of the process as well. You've had quite a few SNWS waddles over the time, and any one in particular that kind of stood out, or any distillery code that you're a fan of?
Usually 53 or 4.
53 or 4. All right, you like the peaty stuff.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Kalila and Highland Park, for those who aren't in the know. I think you'll enjoy these last two, because you've not tried any of these, right? Yeah.
No, none of them.
So we've already had the tasting. I'm a little late doing the video this time. Apologies for that. Summer's busy. I accidentally got into mountain biking and it now consumes my every waking hour. But yeah, so we will try our best to get the next one out in advance. And actually the whiskey's already arrived, so that should be relatively easy. But yeah, great outturn. We had two tastings last week for this month time. And yeah, stunning selection. One of them's already sold out. The rest are all still available. So I'm here to tell you my impressions. I've had these thrice now. This will be my fourth time, and Hart will give you his true, honest opinion straight from the first time trying it. You can actually there's one of the things I love about Hart. You can read his face. You might not be able to trust his words, but his face, you can trust that face. I
try and keep it very straight.
All right, off to the races. Oh, I should mention before we get going, the tickets are available for the next outturns right now. The dinner is going to be on Thursday, the 5th of September, and the tasting on Sunday, the 8th. And if we sell out tickets quickly, I will add a third tasting. But for now, there's just two. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, the whiskey's just arrived for that. Hart actually received the pallet earlier today, and we put them in the cupboard. There's some really interesting stuff. There's one with artwork. There's an octopus on the label. I'll leave it at that, but that should get you excited. All right. Whiskey number one today is chocolate creme brulee with red currants. And I'm going to give Hart the choice here.
Yeah.
So, do I or do I not put the ridiculous AI screens up on the episode, on the YouTube thing this time? Because when I did the in-person tasting, we've been doing explorations using AI for like the little screen in the background while the whiskey's still a mystery before you know what it is. I particularly like these ones. So
Okay.
we found out that AI is good at two things. It's very bad at many, but it is very good at two. First of all, much to Andrew's disappointment, it's very good at imitating existing artists.
That is exactly what it's good at.
It's also very good at creating nightmare fuel.
Oh, I love that.
So this time we combined those two ideas into what I think is the perfect use for AI: fake Salvador Dali pictures.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So we'll put them up. I asked AI to create a fake Salvador Dali picture for a painting called Chocolate Creme Brulee with Red Currants, and this is what they came up with. All right.
All right.
The nose neats had aromas of charred carrots and apple with brown butter vinaigrette using pine nuts and thyme next to sweet and sour candied plums, as well as linseed oil and Jamaican sorrel syrup. To taste, how about creme brulee al cioccolato con ribes rosso? Sounds a lot better than chocolate creme brulee with red currants. I've had practice at saying that now. I'm still not getting it right, but yeah. After reduction, we discovered apricot jam, hazelnuts, and treacle tart, as well as walnut and raisin bread. To start, it was spicier on the palate, as apple, mustard, and a hint of lemon peel ushered in sweeter notes of sugared cranberries and a sweet PX sherry vinegar glaze. Following 12 years in an ex-bourbon hogshead, we transferred this whiskey into a shaved, toasted, and recharred second fill barrique. All right, so let's get rid of the superfluous whiskies for now, and let's pour us a dram of the first whiskey. Now, as much as I trust you, I'm going to set the tone here and pour the first whiskey. You can pour the rest of them, but I want to show you how much to pour because we are still on the clock.
Please go ahead.
All right, that seems about right. That's what we're aiming for
Yeah.
here. No idea how much that is, but that's the studio dram. Love it.
Ideally, like 20 ounces.
I realise
2.
you've not been on the show before, but you have actually seen a few episodes, so you probably know how much whiskey I usually pour myself.
Not much.
Exactly. I don't drink much. That's the thing. That's the weirdest thing. All right. So, chocolate creme brulee with red currants. A really interesting bottling. I thought this was a great way to start the tasting, although it's an unusual way to start the tasting. It's very big, very full flavored. We normally start off with something lighter and a little bit more, maybe floral or something. This is just big, bold right off the gate. Spicy and sweet is, I think, exactly the right category for me. It's a Highland whiskey, aged for 15 years total. Again, 12 of those in the ex-bourbon hogshead, so about a 3-year finish in the STR. And distilled on 21st of September 2007. They got 278 bottles out of it, so that's an interesting thing about barriques, is there's no standard size. Most other casks have a standard size, or at least a variance, like it's 200 litres, I think, is a barrel.
Okay.
And then...
No idea.
Like, you normally get around 220-ish from a barrel. You normally get around 260 to 300 from a hogshead, and you normally get around 600 from a butt. All bets are off when it comes to an STR barrique, or a barrique of any kind. It could be anything. Barrique apparently is just French for barrel. It usually denotes usually denotes that you should have wine in it, because the French love their wine, apparently. But yeah, no, this is... might be French. Most STRs tend to be Portuguese wine. It was a style of cask introduced by Dr. Jim Swan, who famously went all around the world working with brand new distilleries with special maturation techniques. And lots of distilleries like to claim him as their own, even though he definitely belonged to no one. He was very much a world whiskey person. But one of those distilleries, of course, is Macaloni here in town.
Oh, yeah.
So they use STR casks all the time, and they're almost always Portuguese wine. The interesting thing about Macaloni is they've recoined the term STR, which stands for shaved, toasted, and recharred. They call it, in honour of Jim, Swan's Toasted Reserve, which is it's quite nice, actually, I have to say. Yeah, very spicy chocolatey on the nose. It reminds me a little bit of those. Have you had those Mexican hot chocolates?
Yeah, with like the cinnamon and...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Lots of like...
Yeah, definitely on the dark and sweet balance thing going on here. It's not milk chocolate, it's dark chocolate, but it's sweet as well at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Like... Like a bit of caramel in there.
Totally, yeah. It's like Anakin is like fighting with himself. It's that dark and light sort of thing going on here.
I like that fight. It's pretty hot.
Yeah, it's hot in one way. That's yeah. I have this weird. You know how you can get memories that are implanted so strongly, but they're actually completely wrong.
Yep.
Like, we've had this ongoing joke, me and Kristen, because obviously there's some iffy acting. Well, not acting. The acting's fine. Iffy dialogue in those movies.
Oh yeah, there's iffy acting too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I swear, almost at that same time, where the whole, burning Anakin thing, spoiler alert, sorry if you've not watched Star Wars Episode 3, there's this bit where I swear Padme shouts out, "Annie, you're going somewhere I can't follow!" And apparently that doesn't actually happen. There's something similar to that happens.
I thought that happened in like one of the movies.
Oh, maybe it's not that one, yeah.
I think
Star Wars, everyone.
Yeah.
That's apparently where this whiskey has devolved us to. Star Wars.
I think that was at the start when he's talking about the dark side. He's like, "I'm going somewhere you can't follow."
So we should. I feel like we've had some really interesting sci-fi themed whiskey names in the SNWS. We've had lots of like Doctor Who based ones, which is great. I don't think we've had any Star Wars ones. Maybe they're afraid of the Disney lawyers, which
Disney lawyers
makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. But like something dark side would be a great name for a whiskey.
Oh yeah. I remember I had a beer that was based off of Darth Vader. They just called it the Vader.
The Vader, nice. Maybe there have been SNWS.
So dark and smoky.
Let us know in the comments if you remember an SNWS whiskey that had a Star Warsian name. Please let me know, because there must have been one, like something like
Jar Jar's Dram.
Jar Jar Dram. I want a Jar Jar Dram.
It just flows off the tongue.
Yeah, maybe it's like really alcoholic and it electrocutes you when you lick it. Like. Oh, anyway, enough about Star Wars. Back to the whiskey. So this is a Highland whiskey.
Very Highland.
It is quintessentially Highland, isn't it? And it's a distillery that started in 1812. Captain William Fraser. It was owned by United Distillers, which I believe is the company that became Diageo later on. And yeah, we're all familiar with Diageo, for better or worse. They spent $2 million on refurbishing it in 1997. And then sold it in 1998 to Bacardi. Yeah, it was actually owned by Bacardi. But the reason Bacardi bought it, they didn't just buy this distillery, they actually bought the blend for which this distillery is a major component. And that is Dewar's.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is a distillery from the Dewar's blend. It was one of the first Scotch whiskies to get a royal warrant. It got a royal warrant from King William IV, allowing it to use the word royal in its name. It's not Royal Lochnagar, that's the only other one I can think of offhand. It is Royal Brackla. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this whiskey. I think it was a fantastic way to start. A 15-year-old with a really interesting second maturation. Yeah, it worked well. And I think my big takeaway for it was that balance of spice and sweet. And yeah, there was this like trifecta almost. It wasn't quite the Force. It was more of a trifecta. It had the dark, the light, and the spice. It was all kind of floating around together. Sweet, spice, and dark flavors.
It's definitely got like a good spice hit.
Yeah.
I definitely see where they're getting the red berry from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
It's definitely
like, I would say not necessarily a red currant, but more like a cranberry. It's got that thing going. The ineffable, like, I can't say the words, but you read my face just there. It was yeah, whatever that is, it's got that. In droves. However, for science, we should see what it's like with water. I think there's a little water jug there. Let's see what happens when we add a couple of drops here.
Go ahead.
So I am very bad at remembering to add water, so it's officially now your job to try and remind me.
I'll do my best.
I constantly need reminders for things that I do often. I need reminders for adding water to whiskey on these videos, and I need reminders, if you're an SNWS member that comes to our in-store our tastings here at the Strath, you'll know. We do a thing where every whiskey we pour an extra dram for those who can't be here, and we raffle it off. Everyone gets a little raffle ticket when they come in the door. And the amount of times I just forget to do the draw for a whiskey, and there's always someone in the crowd that the whiskey, the draw. And I never remember. I've been doing it for over a year now. I'm so bad at that. Definitely I'm good at many things, apparently, but memory is not one of them.
Oh, it definitely opened it up.
Yeah, it's fruitier now, I feel. I think it's more of that red currant thing now.
Getting a lot more of the spice notes. Mm-hmm. It really muted, like, the dark chocolate.
Yeah, totally. It's brighter.
But
water made it go to the light side. That's what
Shocking.
that's what Darth Vader needed. Water. Actually, after Mustafar, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we do have some of this available still. You can find it at strathliquor.com/SNWS, where you can see all of our SNWS whiskies right now on our newly redesigned page. Have you seen it since I redesigned it? It's great.
No.
You'll appreciate this. As someone with a bit of a tech background, you would not believe how weirdly difficult it was to make the website order it by the SNWS code number, because it would try to do it alphabetically.
Yep.
So it would go like 1, 11, 112, 2, 24, 3, 30. Like, no, that's not how numbers work. Because the word
why not?
SNWS was before.
Yep.
Yeah. But you can finally order all of our SNWS whiskies by number now. You're welcome. What's more, you can actually also have a toggle to look at all past whiskies as well, ones that are
sweet.
sold out. So you can actually filter it all as well. So you can look at, how many whiskies have we had from Isla, or how many whiskies have we had that were under $170, or, little things like that. You can explore to your heart's content. Every whiskey that we've had in the SNWS since March 2020, I wonder what happened in March 2020 to make us build a website.
Nothing.
Is on the website, and you can explore all that. So really cool. You can compare and contrast the whole damn thing. But especially right now, you can go on and buy one of the last couple of bottles of this Royal Brackler for $247.74. And if you're watching this in a few weeks or months' time and you're disappointed to see that we no longer have it available at the Strath, well, that's the problem with single cask whiskey. Once it's gone, it's gone. There's always something fun and exciting to follow up, so don't worry. There's always new SNWSs coming out. It's always very exciting. It's only a matter of time until we get another Royal Brackler even. But I should also mention that there are 4 other stores in Canada where you can get SNWS whiskey, so all hope is not lost. The first place you should always look if we're out here at the Strath is going to be Legacy. That's your best chance over in Vancouver. And then, of course, we do have our new partner over in Kelowna, Arc. They don't get every whiskey, but they do get one every 3rd outturn, I think. I think that's right.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They're very new to it, so.
They're worth a check as well. They might be able to help you out. And then if you can't find it in BC, Calgary and Edmonton, Kensington Wine Market and Keg and Cork are your friends as well. Try and support BC where you can, though, of course. What a great start in whiskey. Whiskey number 2.
It's pretty spicy.
It's
when
nice,
when you add the water,
it's a weird
it
place to
becomes
start,
spicy.
but it kind of makes sense when you go into the next whiskey why they chose this one first. Next up, we're dramming at the Day Spa, and I do want to mention. I'll show you all these slides afterwards because I'm sorry you've not actually seen them. I'm very impressed at AI knowing vaguely at least what dramming means. They didn't quite get it right. They've got like
That
a
is
martini
surprising.
glass, but yeah, they kind of. I was expecting them to like have drums or something and just assume I mistyped it, but yeah, dramming at the Day Spa, everyone. Initially, we noted lemon meringue pie topped with vanilla custard. The big and generously sweet nose also suggested hawthorn, lime jelly, apple juice, and freshly crushed malt. Easy, straightforward, and highly appealing. Reduction brought apple turnover, brown castor sugar, melted butter run through with orange zest, and subtle notes of mint tea and vanilla shortbread. Pause for the pop. Nice. First pop of the show. That was a good one. The palate neat opened with cherry cough lozenges, candied hazelnuts, sweetened olive oil, and dried banana chips. Robust and mouth-coating. Water brought out softer tones of creme anglaise, fruit salad, chews, granola, papaya, and starched linens. I can't remember the last time I had my linens starched. My grandma used to do that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the collar and things, yeah. Chin chin.
Cheers.
Does it not just feel like you're at a day spa? I've never been to a day spa, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I don't like people touching me.
Sorry. All right, so this is a Space Cider. It's from a First Fill ex-bourbon barrel, 9 years aged. Distilled on the 1st of August. I didn't write the year down. That's very silly of me. Oh, there it is. I did, but I wrote it after the amount of bottles.
Yeah.
I'm good at my job. 1st of August 2013. Outturn of 235 bottles. Came out at 59.1% ABV. And the code on this one is 35.343. And I think I actually forgot to say the code of whiskey number 1. 5590 is the Royal Brackler, by the way. It was on the screen, so you didn't, I just feel like I should have acknowledged the fact that I forgot to say it. As mentioned previously, my memory.
We're all getting older.
35, 343. You were asking earlier, like, we get a lot of 35s, right?
We do.
Yeah, and I will reveal why.
I think we have like 3 or 4 now.
After this commercial break. No.
Run the ad roll.
Oh, God, can you imagine if we had ads on this? We should do that, though. We should make a little ad for, like, Big Bad John's or The Rooftop or something and run it halfway through the episode. That'd
Put
be
the
great.
little skip button on the side.
Yeah. A fake one, so people keep trying to click it. Oh.
Driving me crazy.
All right. So, yeah, I'm definitely getting that sort of baked apple thing.
Yeah. I'm weirdly getting the linen.
Yeah, that is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was wondering for a second if it might be because I washed these glasses earlier today, and the room with the dishwasher is also the laundry room, so sometimes they do smell slightly of laundry. But no, I think it's the whiskey. Yeah, I think I'm getting a very specific memory, and this is something that we talk about a lot in whiskey, the idea of like the chemical compound in the whiskey triggering a specific memory. And I know that that's something that our co-worker Blake thinks is utter bullshit.
It's because like the olfactory in your brain is
Yeah,
connected
it's
to
very strong connections.
your memory pretty
Maybe not for
so,
him. I mean,
yeah.
he's from the prairies, so you know.
Hey.
Yeah. No, we love Blake. But yeah, no, there's definitely that thing, and this is reminding specifically of a very specific product that I've not had in probably 20 years. There's a supermarket, if you want to call it that. It's not really a supermarket, called Iceland in the UK. Yeah, you've been in Iceland, right? Where it's almost all frozen stuff, but then they also have some packaged stuff as well, but like long shelf life stuff. And they sold these desserts they called Dutch apple rounds, and it was this weird sort of flat pastry that was lattice, and then had this like really semi-fake flavored like apple jam in it.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
had those.
absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
I loved those things, and I'm definitely getting that on the nose here. Like, specifically that product that I haven't thought about in a good decade.
Like Dutch pancakes.
Dutch pancakes,
Yeah.
nice. Dutch whiskey. They do make whiskey in Holland. They've got a distillery
they
called
do.
Millstream. It's been around for quite a long time.
They have a great brewery too. The Molen.
The Mullen. Yeah, nice. I actually have some Belgian whiskey I brought back from Belgium. I
Really?
haven't actually opened it yet. I've been waiting for a reason. I guess, a random Tuesday night is a good reason. I should probably bring it on the show. We don't sell it at the Strath. We probably never will because it's a small craft distillery in Belgium. But I'm really intrigued to share it with a few folks. Yeah, no, this is very pleasant. All right. I'd say a little more lemony on the palate than appley.
Yeah. Not a lot of apple.
No. Apple's all on the nose there. Yeah, they say orange zest. I'm thinking more towards a lemon, but similar kind of idea.
Zesty.
Mint tea, I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like mint, but it has that feeling of the cooling effect of mint.
Yeah.
Like the menthol vaporing kind of thing.
Like how the Holocene has like the Holocene gin has the thistle. And
Yeah,
it does
totally.
like the same thing to your mouth.
Yeah, Holocene, for those who aren't from Lower Vancouver Island in BC, is a new local distillery in Cobble Hill, I think.
I think so.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, I'm going to say Cobble Hill. Great new little craft distillery, making wonderful things. Their gin's awesome. They're doing some really cool, like, infused, like, liqueurs, but not overly sweet.
Yeah.
And they seem to have this thing where they're partnering with other local manufacturers to use things that they would normally not have a use for, which is really cool. Love that. Anyway, so yeah, why is Distillery 35 one that we have seen so often in the SNWS? It's because, and I don't know if you knew this, the SNWS used to be owned by Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy
Oh.
for a very short period of time. And at that time, they owned, Louis Vuitton owned Glenmorangie and Ardbeg, as they still do, but they also owned Glenmoray, which is what Distillery 35 is. So for a brief period, the SNWS actually were owned by the same company. So at that time, they bought a lot of casks. That just kind of made sense. It was more available. They didn't want to sell the SNWS too many Ardbeg and Glenmorangie casks because they're worth a lot. But Glenmoray, they were more than happy to do some. Nowadays, Glenmoray has been sold. It's La Martiniquaise. I think, who owns them now, a French company. It's used in the Label 5 blended whiskey. You've been on mainland Europe, but you might have come across that.
Not often.
So pretty much every sort of little tobacco or convenience store or like anywhere that sells booze, it's the most prominent Mickey. Like Label 5 is there. It's Europe's version of Alberta Premium.
Okay.
It's bloody everywhere. Like I think I saw Label 5 when I was in Europe in December more than I saw Johnny Walker, which was kind of wild. Yeah. So yeah, big use in mainland Europe, and yeah, it kind of makes sense. They're big fans of it in Europe. I think Glenmorangie, and I think part of that is Glenmorangie is particularly good at a young age. It's great when it's older, don't get me wrong, but it shines really brightly. It's a nice spirit-forward young whiskey. And in places where they enjoy those flavors, like Italy, for example, famously loves young whiskey. The first ever single malt that was bottled as a single malt was for the Italian market. It was a Glen Grant.
Oh,
and I think the first time they released it, it was a 6-year-old. And the Italians said it's great, but it could do with being a little younger. And then they brought out a 5-year-old, I think it was, and which is still available. I actually saw a dusty old bottle when I was in Genoa. So yeah, lots of European countries really enjoy these younger, more spirit-forward, fruity, vibrant whiskies, which is exactly where we're going with Glenmorangie here. And the price is outstanding as well. Hold on to your hats here, because it starts with a 1, and then it starts with a 5. Yeah, hold on to my hat, screw it. 157.30 is the price for this. As such, being that it's under the 180 mark, only existing members can purchase this. You cannot buy this to become a member, which is one of the ways that you can become an SNWS member is buying a bottle over $180, and that gives you a free trial period. You have to be a member to purchase this whiskey, and I think absolutely outstanding value if you like that style of whiskey.
More is always good for the value.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Alrighty, next up.
Water.
Oh, what? Ah, look at you! Nice. Brett, if you're watching, give this guy a raise.
Brett?
I promise nothing. Ooh, nice. It's sweeter on the nose now. More vanilla-y. That bourbon cask influence is really coming out more. Nice.
A lot of, like, brown sugar.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost the sort of creme brulee that they were talking about with the last one. That sort of burnt sugars. Nice. Oh man, that's so drinkable. How much water did you add?
Not that much.
Did I add water? Video evidence is now going to come into play, because I can't remember if I added my own water, if you added water for me.
I did water for you.
Thank you.
Like,
That's how bad my memory's got. Bloody hell. Yeah, because I don't know what ABV it would have brought us down to. Like, my best guesstimate is probably around 50. It's what, 63 or something, was it?
59.
Oh, 59, okay. So it's not actually that high of an ABV from the first place. But, like, this is very drinkable with a splash of water.
I'm definitely getting the mint tea now.
Yeah. Ooh. Actually, another European thing. Because it's got with the lemon. I can't remember what they call it. There's in a couple of countries in Europe, they have a version of Sprite, which is mint flavored. Yeah, they have like a minty Sprite. Yeah, kind of reminds me of that. Mint and lemon. Very nice. Very nice indeed. All right, am I allowed to go on to the next one now, boss?
Yes, you are.
Excellent. Whiskey number 3 today. Apologies for the artwork. It's a little bit on the... It's very Dali, but not very Dali. This is Cowpuncher Rodeo Dram. Yeah. The nose delivered treacle, sherry, and big red gum. Red fruits and berries trampled by new cowboy boots, and the after sniff of Indonesian clove cigarettes. On the palate, the still-booted cowboy was smoking a cigar and tasting dried figs, port-soaked raisins, and apples baked in brandy. Pause for the pop. This one's a wild one.
Yeah. Okay. It sold pretty well.
Yeah, I think we've only got 2 bottles left. All right. The reduced nose deepened our fascination with custard tarts, prunes, cinnamon rolls, and toasted almonds. The palate now reminded us of camp chicory and coffee essence. Yeah, it does. Baked bananas, candied orange dipped in chocolate, peppermint chewing gum, and oak. After 1 year, in a very special type of cask, which I'll tell you all about in a second, it was transferred into a first fill ex-bourbon barrel. So this is weird. It's
so
not
dark.
It's not often you see an ex-bourbon barrel be a finishing cask. It spent 1 year in a specialty cask and then 3 years in a bourbon cask. It's only 4 years aged.
Yeah. It's one of the youngest I've seen.
Yeah, I don't. Have we seen a 3-year-old? We might have seen a 3-year-old in the SNWS, but very rare.
I think other than this, I think there's like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah, there's been a couple of 5 and 6s certainly from some of the newer distilleries around. I think the first Ardnamurchan we had was a 5-year-old.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah, we've had some Taiwanese whiskey that might have only been 3. I forget. But anyway, yeah, this is a world whiskey. This is not Scotch. This is from Texas.
Sure is. If you can guess by the name.
Yeah, right. That could have been Albertan.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is a Texan whiskey, and it is from a distillery called Balcones, which is a very popular distillery. It was actually recently bought out by Diageo, interestingly.
They love buying.
Yeah. And this is... I think that's correct, at least. That's from memory, and as you know, my memory's a little shot today.
50-50 then.
Yeah, we'll find out later. I'll put it in the comments if I'm grossly incorrect there. I think Diageo owns them now. But yeah, this is the second one we've had from the SNWS. The first one we had was Little Dram on the Prairie back in April 2023. But this one is particularly different. That was done in, I think, a port cask, which is relatively more normal. This is done in an ex-Texas Rumble cask.
What is a Texas Rumble?
Yeah, it sounds like some kind of special wrestling event. I think that we...
Or a drinking contest.
Or both. Why not? But yeah, no, it's kind of... I can't quite figure out whether it's a liquor or a liqueur, but it's made with Texas wildflower honey, turbinado sugar, and mission figs.
Okay.
And you can really get a lot of that.
Interesting.
Oh, frick, that's wild.
Yeah. That's a very interesting smell.
Yeah. So 4 years aged, distilled on the 15th of February 2017. Only 122 bottles came out of the barrel, so a lot of evaporation. And it came out at 61.8. It is 140.14 is the code. Not the price, sorry. The code is 140.14.
If only we were so lucky.
I know, right? There has been, I think... If I remember correctly, there was one occasion where the price was almost the same as the code.
Huh.
Like, it was one of the, it was like the one in the 140s or something, one of the newer distilleries.
High number, low price.
Yeah. I think. I vaguely remember that happening. Or maybe it was that the price, I don't know. Yeah. Something funny happened about the price one time, and that's a very, that's a lovely anecdote.
Killing it.
Yeah.
This is really figgy on the nose.
It's so figgy, isn't it? It's
so much
weird.
fig.
It's like burning figs.
Yeah.
It's like someone's trying to start a fire inside, like, an inner tube, but using figs as kindling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, bloody hell. It's so tannic. It's incredibly tannic. I don't know where that's coming from.
No, there's
Right?
so much tobacco in there.
Tobacco, yeah, totally. Yeah. It feels like some of the weird Gordon MacPhail whiskies where they've put it in a first fill sherry cask for 40 years or something. It's got that level of tonicity to it. Tonicity, is that the right word? Tannicness? Tonicity. If it's not the right word, we're creating it now.
Oh, it's not tenacity.
No.
Tannicity? I don't know.
Tannicity? Tannicity.
I like tenacity.
Yeah. This is one of those whiskeys where you really kind of have to taste it to believe it. It's so strange. Like, it feels almost like it's maybe some kind of weird Eastern European liqueur, not even a whiskey, almost. Like, it's still whiskey if you once you've noticed the whiskey, but like right off the bat, it's like, whoa, so much weird, crazy flavors happening.
The finish is like drinking a cigar.
Yeah. The fact that there's only 3 ingredients in this, like barley, yeast, and water, is mind-blowing. Oh. Jiminy Cricket.
I'm getting completely different things on the palate the second taste.
Yeah. Have you ever had camp coffee? Or the like fake coffee, the chicory-based stuff?
No.
Kind of tastes a lot like this, actually.
Okay.
Doesn't really taste like coffee, but I do
You mean like the instant stuff that you...
Yes, but it's not just instant coffee. It's literally not coffee. It's made with hickory.
No.
Yeah.
Then-
It's not... No, hickory. Chicory.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was hickory in this.
You know, if this was a hickory cask, that
No.
would not surprise me at
No.
all. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, that's what it reminds me of in terms of whiskies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Japanese whiskey I had that was aged for a brief period in a cedar cask.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got a similar flavour to that. Very cedary. All right, yeah, what are we on?
This one's wild.
Well, maybe it's the wildflower honey that made it wild. Look, maybe it's the turbinado sugar. Oh, yeah, I believe we've got 2 of these left at time of recording. Yeah, so this is a Balcones, and you can get this for $234.70. $234.70. I don't think official bottling Balconeses have made it up to BC yet. I think these are the only... These 2 Balconeses we had in the SNWS, I think, are the only ever ones we've seen here.
I haven't seen it before.
I mean, neither.
Way smokier.
Yeah, definitely a little smoke there. It's got like roasted almond skins.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird, it's wild, it gets my thumbs up, but it's definitely one of those whiskeys you kind of have to be in a certain mood for. If you wanted a whiskey that you just wanted to taste like a whiskey, maybe this is a special occasion whiskey. This is for those whiskeys where you want to kind of question if everything actually exists or not. This is an existential whiskey.
So whiskey fan whiskey, or like you're bringing it to a party and you're like, you have to try this.
Yes. Not in the way that like sometimes you get challenge whiskeys which are a bit like that.
No.
Like there was that sheep dung whiskey. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
It really did taste like sheep dung, didn't it?
Great.
The floki.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't try to hide it. Yeah, this is not floki. This is not that kind of weird. This is drinkable weird. Actually, I could see myself getting
good.
used to floki, to be honest. But yeah, no, this is very quaffable.
Mm-hmm.
But it does take a little bit of head scratching. All right, next up, whiskey number 4 today is the Tasty Tapas and Flamenco Flair. This was a strong favourite from one of our colleagues. Can you guess who?
Eric? No.
Oh, it would actually. The distillery, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Eric would have absolutely loved this. But no, Taryn. Taryn absolutely freaking loved this whiskey when she did the tastings. And I mean, I loved it too, but she was like complete head over heels. Let's see what we think here. It's a big sherry bomb. All right, for 9 years, this was in a seasoned Oloroso butt, before being transferred into a butt which had previously been used in a Sherry Bodega Solera system. Fancy.
That is fancy.
Yeah, it's very unheard of. Like, we've had a few now ex-Bodega casks where it was actually used in the manufacturing of sherry, but this one specifically says it was used in the Solera system. I don't think I've ever had a Scotch whiskey which specifies that it was used in the Solera system, which is super cool.
Solera systems when they like...
Yeah, it's kind of
Move
like
it around?
the trickle effect. So
Yeah.
you fill one and then you take half of it out and put fresh stuff in and put that half in a new cask, and then you keep like adding more and more. So the one down the line has super old whiskey in that's being topped up with, it's a crazy system. Same system that they use for balsamic vinegar. And if you want to see one in action, Venturi Schultz up island in Cobble Hill, actually. You could go visit Holocene at the same time.
I don't have a tasting room.
No? Damn it.
No, my
Work
mom
on
really
that.
wanted to go.
But yeah, Venturi Schultz says they make balsamic vinegar here on the island, and you can see theirs in action, which is really cool. I keep wanting to do an ex-balsamic vinegar cask whiskey. I think that'd be really neat.
That'd be
I
very
don't
weird.
think the Scotch Whisky Association's on board yet, but in Canada, with the Wild West, we can do whatever we want. So any whiskey producers that want to go in with me on this crazy experiment, let's make it happen. Ex-balsamic cask whiskey.
Still head?
Ooh, yeah, Brennan will be down. All right, let's do it. Anyway, the nose suggested custard pastries and almond biscuits, new leather boots and wood-panelled tapas bar, hams hanging from the ceiling. Pause for the pop. Nice, a squeaky one. I love a squeaker. The mouth impact was powerful. Dried fruits, macaroon bars, caramel, and honey, with lingering notes of pipe tobacco, Bombay mix, leather, cinnamon, and clove. With water, the nose picks up... What the heck is that? Pescado frito. Pescado frito. Are those
frito.
tiny little fish that are fried whole, and you eat them like popcorn?
That
rings a bell.
That sounds correct.
And it's definitely a tapas thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. With lemon.
Fish.
Yeah, and you have that with lemon. That's my best guess. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. Demerara sugar and dark chocolate with orange and spice. The palate now brought raisins soaked in brandy, marmalade, spiced plums, and pencil ends. By pencil ends, do they mean the eraser?
Like the little metally part at the end, I've definitely had that. If when you chew on a pencil, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the most common ways to taste metal, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Chewing on the end of a pencil. Alrighty.
A little bit of tin. A little
This
bit of
is.
eraser. Oh, that's sherry. Oh, that's so much sherry.
Oh,
That's
it does actually remind me a lot of that one that was Eric's favorite, that blended malt.
It was a bodega, right?
Tabanco Time.
Banco.
Yeah, Tabanco Time, which was one of the Heresy range.
One of the first ones we got.
It was, yeah. Oh, man, that's good. Going back to it, knowing, expecting it to be good and still finding it even better than I expected. It's like the nose reminds me of what's it called? Galaxy chocolate. They have the ones that have the caramel inside.
Yeah,
like Galaxy caramel. It's that kind of sweet caramel.
Phrase that really weirdly, but yes, it's.
Oh yeah, sweet caramel drizzled over a cigarello.
Honestly, you could just use this one as a perfume. Or
I often think that about whiskey, so why don't we just No, officer, I've not been drinking, I've just been spritzing.
You can't tell me that's not amazing.
One of the saddest times I've ever been regarding to whiskey is when I found out the date was April 1st after looking at an advert for Lefroy flavoured chewing gum. That would be so good. Hazelnuts and caramels and just everything you'd want in a gourmet Belgian chocolate experience, whilst also somehow eating a ham. Ham and chocolate aren't things that I normally think to go together, but hey, why not? When in Rome.
Yeah. I'm getting more chocolate than ham, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting more chocolate than ham. The ham is, like they say, dangling from the ceiling, I think, than this.
Like, if you've ever had, bacon in a chocolate bar. Like, little shredded pieces of bacon.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I've had chocolate-covered bacon, too. That's but I'm not really getting the saltiness of bacon.
No.
This is definitely more of the smoky ham kind of thing. It's just outrageously good. I don't understand it. Yeah, so 12 years age total, 28th of June 2010, 390 bottles from the butt, which is quite low for a butt. Don't know what's going on there. ABV of 57.3. And this is 41.162. It's so nutty.
Kinda, yeah. Like
hazelnuts and like
praline.
Totally praline.
Yeah.
I'm not so much getting the deep, dark fruit side of sherry cask whiskies. Like, I'm not getting the figs and prunes as much. I mean, slightly, but it's definitely more of that nutty caramel thing. Oh, it's outstanding.
Definitely kind of tastes like a truffle.
Totally. All right, yeah, hit me up with a touch of water. Lawrence will hate me for this. He doesn't believe that sherry cask whiskies should have water added to it. His rule is that if you wouldn't add water to the thing that was in the cask before, don't add it to the whiskey. So because you wouldn't put water in sherry, you don't put water in sherry cask whiskey. And I have to admit that is correct quite a lot of the time. But there are a lot of sherry cask whiskies I enjoy with a touch of water. Let's see if this one.
Good to see if it opens it up.
Yeah. On the nose, at least, it feels like it's kind of just thinned it out.
Yeah, I'm not getting anything new.
Yeah, it just hasn't changed much.
Waterier.
maybe a touch more spice. But yeah, it just
Yeah.
kind of feels the same but less.
Well, when Lawrence is right, he's right.
Yeah, congratulations, Lawrence. You win this round. All right. Yeah. So 41 is a distillery called Dal Ewan. And my favourite trivia about Dal Ewan, because I liked taking the piss out of myself, is that for the longest time I thought there was no distillery called Dal Ewan, because I saw it written down and thought that was just how you spelled Dalwhinnie. And I thought, yeah.
Thought it was Dalwhinnie until
you
now.
did? Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, there's two different distilleries. Dalwhinnie is not Dal Ewan. For those in the know, that's important. Dal Ewan was founded in 1852 by William Mackenzie, and is a Diageo whiskey. It's part of the Flora and Fauna range in the UK, and that's about the only time you ever see it. Sometimes you'll see it in their special releases, but it doesn't really have an official bottling. However, this, because it was distilled in 2010, is very special and important.
Oh, yeah.
So you've heard of like closed distilleries, right? Distilleries that don't exist anymore. We've got a few in the store. We've had a few.
The Lost Distillery.
Oh yeah, the Lost Distilleries, or where there's a company making blends based on what old distilleries used to be like, which is kind of cool. So this is kind of almost a closed distillery. Dal Ewan's still definitely open. However, in 2015, they actually completely changed their setup and their recipe to make a very different style of whiskey. Before 2015, they were making really nutty whiskies, which actually kind of makes sense with this one.
Scans.
Yeah. And after 2015, because in 2015 they couldn't get access to as much Clynelish as they wanted, they started making Clynelish style whiskey, so super waxy Highland style whiskey at Dal Ewan. So this whiskey literally can't be made anymore. They haven't made this since 2015. So in essence, this distillery really closed in 2015. There's a new version of Dal Ewan now, but it's completely different to what it was before. So if you like this whiskey as much as I do, keep your eye out for pre-2015 Dal Ewans. I think, I theorize that in the future these are going to be very sought after. It scratches a niche which is really hard to reach sometimes.
Brandy chocolates with caramel and praline. That's what this is.
And honestly, having it watered down again now, after taking a couple of seconds to... What's that there's a word for just like speaking rubbish. Anyway, after doing that for a while, going back and trying it again, it's really good. Like, I don't notice that it's watered down now. No. Now that I don't have the direct comparison. So maybe you do add water to this, you just have to forget about it. Forget about it. Hey. It's not really a tapas thing. I think we're wrong country though. But yeah, this is, believe it or not, still available at strathliquor.com/SMWS for, get this, $1.99.91. Sub 200, but over the 180 mark. So if you are a big fan of big sherried whiskies, and you are thinking of joining the SMWS, this is an incredibly good way to start. And actually, there might be some people on this watching this video in BC or across Canada who have never had an SMWS bottling before and are thinking about joining. So for that, I'm going to suggest some whiskies that if you enjoy the non-SMWS whiskies, if you're a fan of those, this is the one for you. If you're a fan of Aberlour Abernard or Glenfarclas 105 or the Cask Strength 10-year-old Glenallachie or the Mortlach 16, if you like any of those whiskies, this would be a great way to start your SMWS journey. It's like those, but all grown up. All right.
Yeah. Or if you just like whiskey.
Yeah, just like whiskey. This is a great whiskey for people who like whiskey. And this next whiskey is a great whiskey for people who like whiskey. However, it is all sold out. So I'm very sorry to say you cannot get a welcome home hug. So there's no point in going home, I guess. You can't get the hug. No, this is sold out, but we're going to explore it again right now anyway. We jived all night among sweet perfumes on a polished jazz joint dance floor, then gratefully enjoyed lavender-scented foot rubs and rose and violet dark chocolate creams from someone who stubbed out Yendiji cigarettes, I don't know what that is, in a wooden ashtray. The palate was a welcome home hug. Granny's perfume, hickory wood smoke and embers, lapsang souchong, orange blossoms and seashore, with a teasing light astringency on the finish. Oh, I'll just pause for the pipe. The reduced nose had us floating in a wooden boat on an Isla lily pond, with maltings, smoke, and sea breezes in the distance. The palate, grilled prawns and moule marinière. Atari rope dipped in your Sauvignon Blanc. So, I've not always been the greatest reader out loud, and I often stumble across over words when I'm doing this. But I will admit, I made a wondrous blunder. I think my second year doing the SNWS, we had, I think it was actually distillery number 3, which is what this is. That was something. The name was something and Tari ropes, and I definitely did not realize that was the word Tari, and was like, "What's a Tari rope?" And was asking the crowd, "Does anyone know what a Tari rope is?"
No, they don't.
No, there is no Tari rope. The Tari rope was the friends you made along the way. Yeah. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, you can tell why this is sold out. Mm-hmm. So this is from Islay. It's a second fill ex-bourbon barrel, which means that they're letting the spirit do the driving on this one, which is always good for an Islay. It's 18 years aged from 16th of February 2004, 228 bottles at 56.4% alcohol. This is 3.343. Yes.
Yeah, that's an Islay.
That's
through and through.
Yeah.
Smoke, salt.
Yeah, this lovely, beautiful maritiminess. And I have to say, shout out to the last person to have bought one of these after it debuted on our website. He won't mind me saying this. This is very much a Duke Snyder whiskey. It's the maritime malt extraordinaire. I'm glad you got one, Duke. Good on you. Oh, yeah. Hickory smoke. Totally hickory smoke. Much more so than that cowpuncher.
Yeah. The cowpuncher just had everything.
Yeah, well, that was chicory, not hickory. I just get it mixed up. Yeah, smoky, but not overly smoky. It's not overpowered by smoke.
It's a light smoke.
Yeah, there's a nice brightness to it too.
Definitely getting more like salt and the other things that you get from Islay.
So I'm looking right now for that floral thing. I have to admit, I'm not really getting it. It is something I like looking for in a Bowmore. Are you getting any of that lavendery thing they were talking about?
Barely. Only when you breathe in through your mouth, that's about it.
So there's it was considered for a while in older Bowmores to be a flaw, that floral thing. And they got rid of it, and a lot of people miss it. But yeah, I think they found out it was a slight dent in one of the stills was causing it. It's amazing how much difference that can do. But it was known for a long time as FWP. So you would have a Bowmore that is FWP'd. Probably not the most PC term. It stood for French something beginning with W that sounds like a H sound, perfume.
Of course,
I don't know why I'm censoring myself. But yeah, it's not the most PC of terms, but it gets the message across. It's definitely quite perfumey and floral for those style. And seemingly a little bit of that still remains, because, that when I say old Bowmore, that I'm talking about Bowmores that were 20 years old 8 years ago. So like an 18-year-old shouldn't have any of that defect, quote unquote, in it. But I feel like they left a little bit in somehow. Like they tweaked it just to please the people that kind of look for it now.
Definitely got something going on.
Yeah, it's a very interesting Islay. It's not like, I know you love your 53s, and I love a good Kalila as well. But this is a little bit less brute force than a Kalila. A little more delicate. And of course, being 18 years old will help that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ready for water?
Yeah, please. So this is a Bowmore, for those who aren't aware of what Distillery 3 is. Bowmore, is the distillery I've had the honour of touching. The most expensive whiskey I've ever touched the box of was a Bowmore. The $110,000 Aston Martin edition Bowmore.
Oh, right, that thing.
Claims to be the oldest distillery on Islay. Which is probably fairly true. There's definite evidence that it was around in 1779, but they also for a while claimed to be the oldest still active distillery in all of Scotland. They found evidence that it was started in 1768. That's quite some time ago.
When was Canada?
That's 250 years ago. It's, yeah.
Predates Canada
Predates
by like
Canada.
100 years.
Oh, man, that's... It certainly hasn't thinned it out at all. It doesn't taste any less flavorful with a touch of water. If anything, it feels a little woodier. Yeah, a little less spirit and was a little more wood influence after the water. It's kind of interesting.
More charcoaly.
Yeah. All right, so you have missed out, I'm afraid, here at the Strath. It might still be available at Legacy. Worth checking that out. At the Strath here, at least, it was $343.39 was the price on this one. And we look forward to hopefully having another Bowmore. And if you want the best chance at getting an S&WS Bowmore in the future, come to the tastings. That's the best way to do it. And if not, keep an eye out on the website. It's usually the first Friday of the month at 10 a.m. is usually when we do it, but they have a countdown on the website. Pro tip, it's usually up a few minutes before the countdown actually reaches 0. All right, last whiskey of the day. I'm still never sure how to pronounce this. Soupçon, is that right?
Soupçon.
Soupçon. Madame Two Swords. Soupçon. A Soupçon. A Soupçon of Soot. A Soupçon of Soot is our final whiskey today. Yeah. The nose was a hillbilly honker.
That's a phrase.
It really is. Hay smoked cloudy cider and beach smoked cheese, apple skins, nutmeg, and burning barns. Oh, and an ice cream cone for the kids. The palate had chalky textures, herbal hints, lavender and violets, and tasty bittersweet flavours of apple chutney and pineapple crumble, with a soupçon of soot drying the finish. Did I do soupçon all right there?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm learning. All right, pause for the pop.
I only took 7 years of French.
It's like 5 more than me. The reduced nose remained curious. Blackcurrant leaf and jam, toffee, and Caramac sweetness. Ooh, Caramac. Is that a thing here?
Caramac?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
It's like a caramel flavored white chocolate bar. Like, it doesn't have caramel in it. The white chocolate itself is flavored with caramel. Sacks of green malts in an old shack and further herbal hints of menthol and mint. The palate became sweet and earthy, charred lemon, tree bark, ash, and pork cooked in cider. My favourite way to do pork. I do that most years for Thanksgiving. Get yourself one of those pressure cookers, the Instant Pots, and get yourself the cheapest 2-litre bottle of unflavoured cider you can get. What is the cheapest? It's Arctic. Is that no Growers?
That's flavored. Yeah,
I don't get the Growers. Yeah.
They have a dry one.
The Growers Extra Dry. That's what I get. Get yourself some Growers Extra Dry and a Costco-sized giant thing of ham, and just cook that ham in Growers in a pressure cooker. Delightful. The best use for cheap cider.
Oh, it is not smoky on the nose.
It smells like mustard. Like, it's the weirdest thing. I know how smoky this is, but you're right. Right on the nose. There's so much other things going on, the smoke is almost kind of lost.
Like, it's there at the end when, you stop breathing in.
Yeah, but you kind of have to look for it. But yeah, take a sip, because it's mind-blowing. It feels like I lost a bet, or had a prank or something, and I had to put an entire ashtray in my mouth.
It's not that smoky.
It's pretty smoky, though.
It's pretty smoky.
It's a very pleasant experience, unlike, I assume, putting an ashtray in your mouth. That doesn't sound great. Or hygienic.
Nope.
Oh, man, that's good. This is just a big, smoky, meaty, wonderful, crazy thing.
It's like eating sandwich over a fire.
Yeah, totally. It's like a smoked grilled cheese. Okay, so it's a Highland whiskey. It may feel like an Islay, but it's not. It's a Highland. It's from a refill recharred hogshead, 8 years aged, from 2nd of July 2013. 207 bottles came out at a whopping 64.4. Although nothing feels whopping now that we have that 70.3% whiskey.
Yeah, that hits.
Yeah.
Although
before that, 64.4 would have been very impressive.
This doesn't feel like 64.
You're right. No, it doesn't.
Like the
peat covers ABV quite a lot. 16.71 is the code to this, and it is a sister cask to 16.65 4, which was Tannic Shamanic Oceanic from February 2023. Also a sister cast to 16.72, which was Beware the Reaper Chili from April of 2023.
That makes sense.
Interesting that we got 16.72 over a year before we got 16.71.
They don't number things perfectly.
I don't know. Maybe
No,
it's just
been in the
kept in
warehouse.
reserve or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Oh, yeah. So I thoroughly enjoy this distillery. I have to say, it's my partner's favorite, and I feel like part of it is the name. It reminds her of me
Aw.
because it's Ruad Moor, which means big red in Gaelic.
Aw.
Yeah. So Andrew's one of Andrew's favorites too.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Yeah, I love me a Ruad Moor. It's the peated stuff coming from Glenturret, which we've been on a run of incredible Glenturrets, not just with the SNWS. We've got the official bottlings finally now here in
quite a
BC as
few.
well. Yeah,
They're
we've got
beautiful
3,
bottles.
and we're about to have a 4th. Yeah, they're Lalique. We've actually got a bottle right there. If you can see, there's the 7-year-old. Comes in this crazy Lalique decanter. But yeah, because they're actually owned by Lalique now. They were, for a long time, owned by Edrington, who own Highland Park and Macallan. And when they were owned by Edrington, they set up the famous grouse experience at the distillery, which now makes no sense, because they don't have an affiliation with Famous Grouse anymore.
Yeah.
What they do
is
have
the
at this distillery...
Famous Grouse experience?
I don't know. There was a giant statue of a grouse. That's all I know.
Okay.
But what they've got instead is far better. They are the only distillery in Scotland that has on site a Michelin star restaurant.
Whoa.
Yeah, Lalique mean business. They're doing some interesting stuff. One of the interesting things that they're doing is, of course, their official bottlings have peated and unpeated whiskey, and the way that they do that is they, for 1 or 2 weeks a year, make an incredibly peated whiskey, and then mix that with unpeated whiskey to make their peated single malts. So this is just the incredibly peated stuff. This is 80 ppm, parts per million of
Wow.
phenols. To put that in perspective, Ardbeg, which is the peatiest of the standard Islers, is 55. So this is Ardbeg and Bowmore together. Or, if you will, this is Lafroig and Lagavulin combined, which is wildly peaty. Glenturret, of course, famously is the actual holder of the title, the oldest still working distillery in Scotland. It used to be 1775. They've now found evidence at 1763. So a good 5 years before Bowmore. They make some really good stuff. They don't use the term Ruad Moor in-house, and I think they used to. I don't think they do it all anymore, but it kind of caught on with independent bottlers, so I like it because it means big red, and that makes me happy. So I still definitely use it. Oh, it's good though, isn't it? It's just, hit me up with some water. I remember.
Do you want one more? Sip before.
Yeah, go on then. I remember how that this actually works well with water though.
Okay.
I remember thinking it didn't really change it much at all. It just kind of made it more, more value. You've got more whiskey in your glass all of a sudden.
There's worse things.
Exactly. That's what I like about cash strength whiskey. Realistically, it's actually just whiskey concentrate.
Saves you money.
Exactly. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot more of that, like, breadiness to it.
Yeah. And actually on that, like saving money.
Spicy.
You make a good point, because this is still available, amazingly. We still have some of this available. And I say amazingly because not only is it a great whiskey, but the price is ridiculous. It's $169.48. Which, if you think about it in whiskey concentrate prices, this is 64.4% alcohol. So some quick back-of-the-head napkin math. At $169.48, if this was watered down to 40%, this would be about $110.
Yeah. Which is about the price you're going to get a smoked whiskey for.
Yeah. Like for like, this is the same price as Lafroig 10.
It's better than
Lafroig 10.
Yeah.
Like, I love Lafroig 10, don't get me wrong. It's one of my favourite official standard bottlings, but I'll take this any day. And yeah, like for like, ABV, concentration, and it's like I said, adding water really just makes this more. It just makes more of it. It's a miracle. It's like that water, like turning, not water in the wine, the other miracle that Jesus did, the fish and the loaves and the fish, where suddenly there was just more fish. Maybe he just added water, Actually, for fish, that kind of works.
It started. Yeah. Didn't say how long it took.
Yeah, it's true. Several generations. I mean, it was a very long meeting.
We've all been in those.
Yeah. Meetings that should have been an email. We've
Yeah.
had one of them today. All right, so thank you very much for joining us. It's been a wonderful outturn. Again, all of these, apart from the Bowmore, are available right now at strathliquor.com/SNWS. And if they are sold out there now, please check out our partners. And yeah, if you can make it to a future in-person tasting, tickets are available right now for, again, the dinner on Thursday, September 5th, and the tasting on the Sunday, the 8th. And the dinner is at, I think, 6 or 6:30, I forget which one. And 6? That tracks. And then the tasting's at 3 p.m. on the Sunday afternoon. So hopefully you can make it to one of those. We'd love to see you in person. If you can't make it in person because, well, you're busy, or maybe you don't live in Victoria, then yeah, please keep watching these videos and say hi in the comments. We'd love to know where you're watching us from. See you next time. Stay safe, be well, Slan Shavar, and thanks for joining us, Hart.
Thank you.
Oh, actually, important question. Hart, what was your favourite?
That's a hard question. That's a really hard question.
Fair.
They're all torn between, honestly, the cowboy one and the
Cowboy one was pretty wild, yeah.
the Terran's favorite.
Oh, the Dalyuan, yeah. The tapas. Yeah, fair enough. Cool. All right, well, I'll see you on the next one.
And you're Dylan Durrington, to hear what I say. Somebody next your backy tin, they tap the van to buy some in. When you're parked outside the pub, night of New Year's Day, and Durham police pull you, cause they've nothing else to do. They'll keep you there for ages, in the backseat of the car. The only day you miss the gig, they'll fine you 30 bar for parking in a double line in the middle of the night. If you're Dylan Durham, keep your backy tin in sight. And if you're up in Balta, don't let the drummer drive. Don't listen to the lad who says we'll tap the motor anyway. And you have to fill a water tank by pissing in the snow. See your wages disappear when the engine finally blows. Sitting by the roadside and you finally find the cause. It's only -10 degrees, he forgot the antifreeze. If you're up in Balta, you're planning to survive. Fans look dull and pissing snow, don't let the drummer drive. Then you're up in Turnhouse and you have to catch a plane. You can't get your boarding card, your passport's back in Wallyford, and you have to pay a taxi to get there and back again. You could have got the bus instead, the plane has been delayed. Now you're down in Stansted and you've missed the other flight. There's no one till the next day, so you have to spend the night and buy another ticket and kick down on the flare. If you're stuck in Stansted, you'll be cussing my ear. If you're in a foreign train, don't argue with the guards. When you're paralytic drunk and he's only trying to wake you up, and then he gets so cheeky, if he knocks your guitar, he'll chuck you off without your phone, he'll knock in where you are. When you're doing your local and you're contemplating life, and somebody says you got a gig as far away as Bonnie Right, to save you all the hassle, can I give you this advice? You're just inviting trouble when you're bringing folk to Fife. You're just inviting trouble when you're bringing folk to Fife.